You want to keep your gains while going on vacation? Watch this for some secrets.
Our first caller is Cameron from Georgia.
Hey, Cameron, how can we help you?
I am going on a month-long vacation in February for my birthday, and I'm really anxious about my gym routine and being out of it. 1 week kills me, much less 4, but at least with 1 week, I can take your advice around having some break and the rest of recovery and what it does for my body. And so I'll have limited access to subpar hotel gyms. And I did go ahead and buy Maps Anywhere, but I'm wondering, is this enough? I'm really worried about regression, and I just have made so much progress. So I want to make sure that I'm like doing everything I can to continue the progress and be in a good spot when I come home.
Yeah,
this is awesome.
You're okay. So two things I'll say to that. One, if you do, first off, you're very fit. We could see you. You're very fit. You've made tremendous gains in progress with muscle and fat.
Yeah, awesome gains.
Great job.
Really good. Even if you did regress in a month, whatever regression you made in a month would come back in like a week or two. So of coming back. So even if you were to regress, it would be so temporary. And the trade, in my opinion, would be worth it because it's a break from counting every bite that you put in your mouth and being so structured to being on vacation. Now, that being said, if you did Maps Anywhere while you were gone, you probably won't regress at all. You'll probably be totally fine. And if anything, you might even come back a little stronger because it's different, it's novel, and it's going to give you a little bit of a break because Maps Anywhere doesn't use much equipment except for maybe bands. So you literally have nothing to worry about at all.
Remember the way you thought originally when you first did a MAPS program and switched from your kind of training you were and thought, oh my God, I'm going to lose all that. That same mentality you have right now and if you were to do Anywhere, I actually don't even think you need to do that, but if you wanted to, you could. I think if you actually hit the gym once a week while you're out there,
do like a full body workout for 45 minutes.
You would maintain most everything you got, and even if you had a tiny bit of a setback, it lit right way when you as long as you don't do this. Here's where the mistake that people make when they go on a vacation like this is they go from being so dialed like you are right now to the complete opposite in the spectrum where they eat like an asshole, don't train whatsoever, and then they that's where you.
So what he means by that, Cameron, is that it's not that you're going from tracking to not tracking. It's that you go from tracking
to binging. Yeah, to
where you're eating till you're uncomfortable,
drinking every night. I mean,
it's like you're pushing it in the opposite direction. It's more of a behavior thing. So that's where some damage can happen, and most of the damage even then wouldn't be physiological, it'd be psychological. Because then going from that to having to go back to tracking, it really kind of encourages this on-off kind of mentality. But I think you're totally fine. You're going to be completely fine going over there. So let me ask you this question, Cameron. How valuable are your workouts for just setting your day up and the mental aspect of it? Forget the physical. Is it real important for the mental part too?
I mean, I spend like 2 hours every morning in the gym when I wake up. And it's not all lifting for 2 hours, but just like being there and doing mobility. And like, I never miss a trigger session. I love being in the space, to your point, from a mental perspective.
Okay. So try this then, because I get most of the benefits I get from exercise now are mental for me. I really value it for that. So when I'm on vacation, my workouts aren't at all like the workouts when I'm home. My workouts more like I'm going to start my day with 30 minutes of something it's like coffee for me, or like it's like my antidepressant. So I wake up, I'll do 30 minutes in a hotel gym. It usually looks like a full body, machine to machine, couple dumbbell exercises, and then I'm done. So I just start my day that way just because it feels good. So, I mean, you can even do something like that where you do like a 30-minute something. It could be yoga. You said you did yoga before. It could be a few machines, just to kind of, touch the, each area of the body and just kind of feel good. And that's very valuable. But I don't want you to think about like physical fitness.
Yeah,
so
I think the one thing the common thread you're going to hear from all of us is that so long as you don't go binge eating, drinking on your 4 weeks off, and you have some sort of attempt to do any sort of exercise, whether it be 15 minutes, 30 minutes, once a week, you're going to be totally okay. You really are. You're going to be fine. And in fact, because you've been so consistent for a while now, your body might want a little bit of a rest, and you might see some actually real big benefits to kind of scaling back a little bit for a month and enjoying yourself. So I think you're going to be just fine.
Yeah, I'll do kind of what Sal's talking about in terms of like, something just to get me up and alert and, enjoy my day more. So if that helps, just like a cup of coffee or just like planning activities that you're just moving a lot more and like visiting and doing things that you normally wouldn't do, like paddle boarding or whatever, like things that I'm like structuring. I know I'm going to have some physicality to it. You're going to be just fine. It's honestly, it's a good break for your body. Anyways.
One more thing in regards to the eating part. If you do anything, even though you're going to be on vacation, I don't expect you to track, and I wouldn't make a client do this, but if you wanted to mitigate any sort of muscle loss, is stick to the protein thing at least. So that would be kind of like, I know.
Choose high protein meals.
Yes. Choose high protein meals, or at least just pay attention to kind of the grams of protein on a during your time off, because that's an area where you could see. So if you were to overconsume, junk food and alcohol, and also underconsume protein and also not lift weights, you could see a pretty dramatic change in a month of like falling off of all this work you've done. But if you do a good job of eating most of your meals being protein centric, getting a few workouts in while you're out there and not binge eating, you're going to be just just fine. But I would add the combo of not eating enough protein you could lose some muscle mass.
Let me phrase it differently. Okay, so two things to this. One is that if you look at the studies on deload weeks, and they even have studies where people will do a deload for 2 weeks. So these are people like you, consistent. They work out. They're totally on, and then they'll do like a deload is essentially no exercise or minimal exercise. They gain more muscle in the deload week than they do during their consistent weeks. So that's from a physiological standpoint, but this might help, okay? Think of your mental health more than your physical health when you're on vacation. That's going to point you in a better direction than thinking about your physical health. So to kind of talk about what Adam said about protein, you could think to yourself, I need to eat the protein so I don't lose the muscle. But I think it'd be more effective to say, I need to eat the protein because protein's going to make me feel more satiated. I'm going to be less likely to want to eat, junk food. It's going to give me more consistent blood sugar, so I'm not going to have these energy highs and lows while I'm on vacation. It'll help mitigate feeling crappy from alcohol that I may consume. So think of things from a mental standpoint. Another example would be, instead of thinking I need to work out because I'm going to lose muscle, think, hey, tomorrow we're going to go do that snorkeling, or we're going to go hiking. I'm going to do some mobility beforehand so that I can feel really good on the hike. Okay. If you think of it from a mental standpoint, then physically you'll actually get better results than if you think of it from a physical standpoint. If you think of everything from a physical standpoint, you'll enjoy your vacation less, and you may fall into this off on type of mentality. That's where people tend to screw up. So think of it from that standpoint. I think that makes the biggest difference. Also, do you have MAP suspension? Because that's another great travel program.
I think you named like the one program I don't have. I own I think I own 12 or 14 programs, so I don't have suspension.
Well, you got it. You got suspension now. We're going to send it over to you.
We're going to send it to you, and if you have a suspension trainer, like super easy to travel with, and then you don't even need a hotel gym. You can hang it in the doorway, and then you don't even have to leave your room.
Okay.
You're set.
I believe when we send, I don't know, Doug, when we send it for free, does the email automatically kick her the 50% off?
I believe it does. Yeah.
Okay, so you should, when you get the program for free, we normally send an automatic email for 50% off of the straps too. So you get a really good deal on the straps. So we have them. So just so you know.
For sure.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that. So really quick follow-up. I will leave right close to the end of phase 2 of anabolic, which I'm loving. I just started 2 weeks ago, but it's been awesome. My strength gains have been crazy in 2 weeks. Like, I've been really surprised. Would you want me to start back where I left off when I come home, or like repeat something? And then lastly, what program should I do next?
Yeah.
You could do I would do the program over a whole month. I'd start the program.
It doesn't. I mean, honestly, it really doesn't matter. What matters most is that you give yourself a week, because you're going to take a month off. So I'm going to assume that you're going to take a month off of like hard lifting. Give yourself a week of easy lifting. So I don't care where you start. It really doesn't make a big. It's not like, so people think MAPS Anabolic goes from phase 1, 2, and 3 because it scales. That's not how it works. It's just different. It's just novel, just new novel stimulus. So phase 1 can be hard or easy depending on who you are and so on. So it really doesn't matter, but give yourself a week when you get back of easy workout. So I would do a week of pre-phase and then jump into whatever phase you want. You can start over if you want to do it that way. Doesn't make a big difference. And then program next. Have you done MAP Strong?
No, that's the one that's like
yeah.
on my list. I have it.
Do that.
You'll love it.
Do that.
You'll love it.
Yeah, you'll love that.
It's like one of our most popular programs
By women.
by women.
Yeah, they normally avoid.
Really?
Yeah, it's one of the ones that
you
they
would think
avoided, and then they do it, and they're like, "Oh my god, it's my favorite now." That you'll love it.
Well,
Do it.
because it's like shorter. Every day has so much fewer exercises. So it's very different than what I'm used to doing from a volume perspective, but it looks really
Wait till the other. Okay,
The
so
work sessions.
The work sessions
are totally
Yeah,
different.
strong is
It kinda
kind of flip
flips it on
flop.
its
Like
head.
you know how trigger days are your easy days.
Yeah.
Work session days are harder for a lot of people than the foundational days.
Way harder.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So
Okay,
it'll be
cool.
very different from what you've been doing. So it'll be a nice shock for the system. You'll like it.
Awesome. Fantastic. Really grateful for all the information, and it's so awesome to meet you guys in person.
Thanks,
All right, Cameron.
Have a
All
good
right.
vacation.
Keep killing
Thanks
it.
so much.
Yeah.
You got it.
Bye-bye.
What did you see her? Did you see her stats?
I did.
She sent them over.
Great progress.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that was
fun.
even not
Amazing.
even. That's not even her taking it from the start.
Man, if anybody's listening and they're doing like the traditional circuits and tons of running and all that stuff, and especially if you're female, just listen. You have nothing to lose. What's the worst thing that can happen? You try something for a few weeks, you go back to what you were doing before. Try one of our programs and watch what happens to your body. Watch what happens to your metabolism. Watch how easy it becomes to lose body fat. It will blow your mind. The hardest step is going to be just making that first step.
That's the most difficult part, is to get in that headspace that I'm going to do something completely outside of my norm. But if you do that and you trust in it, man, the results will come.
This is also why we take so much heat around the cardio conversation, is because people think that we're anti-cardio. No, it's just that we know that is our average client right there.
Yeah.
She is
That's the
somebody.
norm.
She is the 80% of the people that came to me over those 2 decades.
That's how they worked out.
Was just like she was, as far as her mentality towards lifting weights, and to get them to transition from that thought process and the run and burn calories and thinking that way to getting strong, lifting weights, long rest periods. And I mean, it just, that's why we keep hammering that message. It's not because we don't think people should do cardio and it's not healthy for them. It's that most people, especially if you actively listen to a fitness podcast or you're looking for information on that, are in a very similar boat as she
Especially
is.
if you're a female.
Yes.
Especially if you're a female.